all here. We'll call the meeting to order. This seems very weird. Do we have minutes from the last meeting, Mark?
We do not.
Okay, that's fine. And Bob, was there any correspondence?
I was there today and there was nothing.
Okay, that's even better. We like that. I'm just, not that we don't like to hear from people, but that's good. Okay, as we're moving through this, I'd like to congratulate everybody on the good work they did for the town meeting. And we have a positive showing. So that's the first of the chair's remarks. Do we have an update on the school project?
We have
to add on?
no updates, Dinah. We're status quo, just waiting, for everything to kind of catch up and now to move forward. I still don't know how we're actually going to be moving forward. I know that's up to the select board, but we're status quo right now.
Okay, that's good. For the Town Hall Community Center project, let me just kind of move through some items that I had jotted down, and anybody else feel free to jump in. Is Mike Units on the call?
He is.
Okay. Mike, what do you need? What kind of authorization do you need from the building committee to enter into a contract with DVBW to move forward? That was voted under Article 18.
Dinah, we did receive a contract from Mike Viveris, and I just wanted the committee to vote to award the contract. It's $81,150.
$81,150. Now, I haven't personally read the contract. Has anyone else on the committee seen it?
I have not.
Being no,
No.
Slattery.
No,
Okay.
is it posted?
Yeah, is it online, Mike?
Claudia,
I do not know. I'll send it to you.
if that's anything.
Okay. I think it's something that we definitely want to move forward with quickly, but I'm not comfortable with doing it before I actually read it. So if you could,
It's the same contract that you got on August 19th, Dinah.
It's just their proposal.
oh dear God, that's a lifetime ago, Mike. August 19th?
Yes.
Okay. Let me go back and look, because if it was August 19th, I probably did send it out to the committee.
Mike, it's just
August.
Mike Vivera's proposal. So
Yes.
Town just signs it and sends it back typically.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. There was a flurry on August 20th. Yes, I see it. And I had sent it out to the committee. So can I make a leap that we all did read it, but we're just trying to remember back to August?
Maybe.
I have no record of it on my emails.
Okay.
I have the 6th and the 30th, everything in between.
Okay. Let's see. Mike, do you mind sending it one more time?
Nope, that's fine.
We can get it out, and then I'm trying to think how we can have a vote on this and turn it around fairly quickly.
We're meeting the 9th, is that right? When's the next one?
We're meeting the 9th, yeah.
That's 2 weeks, right?
Is that gonna throw a huge monkey wrench into everything? 2 weeks shouldn't, should it?
No,
No.
Okay, so let's do that. If you'd mail it to me, send it to me, then I'll get it out to everybody. And we will, give you a vote on that on November 9th. November 9th, 2020 for the vote. Okay. I had just a couple of other things here that I would like to know. Do we have a date certain for the Springtown meeting yet?
we do not.
Okay. So that, I know that it's a little far out there. What I would like for this committee to do, the building committee, is to set a calendar of working meetings between now and the spring. Do you think we need to meet more often, or just is once a month good for us? Because we will be going for the formal vote on these projects. What's the group's thought?
How often is the working committee group meeting now, or will be?
The working group is meeting roughly once a week.
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Dinah, it's Sherry. Is that something that should be combined with this group, since there's a lot of the same people? I mean,
We could.
just seems like it might be more beneficial for the PBC to kind of, like you guys did last time, move forward with this and have the other committee, maybe join in on these meetings so all can work, collaboratively together. Just a thought.
Okay. I will be honest with you. I can't see the building committee needing to meet more than twice a month. So perhaps rescheduling the working group to twice a month and having them as a item on our agenda. Is everybody there?
Has it
Yeah.
been decided who's moving this forward? Are you guys setting up a political campaign or whatever was said that was needed, or who's moving this forward?
The building committee isn't moving it forward. The working group was a separate group. The building committee is going to be concentrating on working with DBBW for all the engineering and the site plans and getting the designs and everything ready to go for town meeting. Yeah, for the physical town meeting.
Right,
Do we
so
know
will
what-
the PBC be hosting like community forums like you guys did last year?
Yes, I can see that definitely.
Dino, on the contracts, I'm assuming we're gonna have like a 30, 60, 90 design submittals?
No, this is just conceptual, Brian.
Yeah, I know that, but I mean, when do we, what's the intent when we get to spring meeting? Is the intent to have the design complete or bids in hand?
No, neither.
Just conceptual?
We are trying to get the community to vote to go to authorize construction of these buildings. So
Design.
we're kind of doing a feasibility study again, but
Okay.
with the design in hand.
Okay, now based on the actual sites. Okay.
Yes, now based on the actual site.
Okay, I just want to make sure I understood.
Yep.
My partner's bugging me. Come here.
But
Madam Chair, I have a question. Beth.
yeah, who is
It's Beth.
Can't see. Oh, hi, Beth.
It's Beth. So the question is, I know at the town meeting, the townspeople voted to have the money to purchase the land for these buildings. And then the Board of Selectmen got up and said, if there's gonna be a contingency in there for it passing at these town meetings. What are we gonna do if I know if I had a piece of land on 140 down by Jasmine Gardens. I don't know if I'd be willing to wait that long. Any thoughts on that? Or can we move forward without a purchase and sales? Like,
I don't think so. You?
No,
so I'm,
the selectmen have been authorized to enter into negotiations for purchase and sales of these two properties. Mike, do you have any idea what their timeline is so far for that?
Any idea? I know that the Realtor wants to move quickly.
Okay,
I'm just not sure what the owners are gonna say about the contingency.
okay, but we haven't
So-
asked yet.
We originally asked, and I think at the time, the contingency was to wait until June 30th, and they weren't real comfortable with that, so we're still negotiating with them on that.
so if they
Okay.
don't want to wait, if I had that piece of property, I wouldn't want to put off other buyers if, I don't know. I'm just worried. I'm worried about that.
Mike, question. Mike,
Bob?
yeah, Mike, if we get a permission to go on the property from the homeowners to do the engineering and the preliminary plans before we purchase the property, is that feasible?
Yeah, I don't think they'd be opposed to that.
I think that.
But isn't that a waste of money?
It is.
If- It doesn't, it seems like it would make more sense to purchase a property, do the work, and then if it doesn't pass, flip it and make money.
The problem, Beth, is we have a town meeting vote that says we cannot purchase this property unless the project passed at the spring town meeting.
That isn't how the warrant was written, but that is what was sort of promised by the selectmen, by Jack.
Well, Jim Slattery here. Well, I think happened was, being on the positive side, the town hall property has been for sale for 10 years, so there's no real problem about waiting. Across from the Chinese restaurant has been on the market for 2.5 years. I don't think there's any, and the committee, in wanting to do this as quickly as we could, thought the most positive way to do it was to get sales and purchase with a condition of waiting till June so that we could put the buildings on it. We're not thinking negatively that there's big people out. I know we've all of a sudden made light of these properties, so they may suddenly become very valuable. But the building committee's thoughts were, these have been on the market for a long time. But in order to get it by the town's people, we had to have a commitment for the property. In order to get commitment for the property, we had to have a sales and purchase. But we knew, like at the town meeting, people would bring up, why are we taking land off of the tax rolls, that if it doesn't pass, the town ends up with the land. So the most positive way of doing this was to try the sales and purchase. There is no way people are going to let us buy land when they know we're going to need $35 million to put something on it. So we're better off having a sales and purchase and trying for the two buildings afterwards.
I
It's the only
understand that. I'm
positive
just,
way for us to go. There are
Yeah.
negative routes, but this was the positive one.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Bob?
we really, to move forward and do things, we really need to get some sort of a commitment on a purchase and sales agreement to know if the owners of the property are willing to sell the property to us.
I think that's
That's
what the board's
that's
doing.
what the
I know,
authorized to
But
do.
we need to put a time frame on that. Agree?
Well, aren't the selectmen talking to the property owners now?
Yeah, Jim Slattery here. I think that, we have a contract we have to study and pass. We have other things in the background that have to do. The selectmen are gonna move at the selectmen's speed, and they're gonna do their part. But there's no reason for us to sit back and do nothing and try to put this puzzle together and have somebody mail us a piece once a week. We should be able to take different pieces and try to put it together to all come together for the town meeting.
And we can do that.
Dinah,
I agree, but I think am I hearing Bob Briscoe correctly, that you think we should ask the selectmen for a date certain as to when they're going to enter into a P&S?
Absolutely, because, until we get that, what are you gonna be able to do? Are you gonna spend money
Okay.
to try to go into the property and do a feasibility study and all that stuff? And if the property owners don't want to sell it to us under certain circumstances? I think we need to find out that first.
Okay. So,
So it
Dinah,
sounds like
yes,
go ahead.
Mike Eunice.
I don't think there's any problem with having that within the 2-week time frame
Okay, good.
before you vote on the contract with Mike Viveras.
Okay.
And
That'd be
I
good.
just had another question for the committee and your steering committee. Are you planning on waiting to the May town meeting, or are you planning on putting a vote on the April ballot? What is your goal?
Well, both of them have to go, correct?
Both have to go, but
Jim Slattery here. I think the most economic way we were thinking was to have it on the town meeting, because that costs no money. The town meeting's already been read. To have a special town election will cost the town $10,000.
I didn't say to have a special election. I
So
said
do it at the,
put it on the
election.
ballot in April so that you know if people are supportive. Then you have an article on a town meeting warrant, or you go the other way. You have a town meeting where 1,000 people show up and vote on it, and they say they vote for it, and then it goes to the ballot and loses. You're spending money on a town meeting, because if you have 1,000 people, you're gonna have to spend money on that town meeting, because you're gonna have to be in various rooms, and how, is it worth to the election first?
personally, I think the election is usually scheduled prior to town meeting, correct?
Yes, the election is before town meeting.
Okay. Personally, I would go to the election first and get that part over with. Because if you have the town meeting first, then you have to call a special election, which is spending money that you really don't need to spend if you go to the ballot first. Does that make sense?
Yes, when's the next election? Is it just that November of 2021?
No, the election's in the spring.
It's always in the spring.
It's in the spring.
So yeah, what would we be voting on in April, Mike?
In the spring election, you vote on any of the town elected positions that are open.
No, as far as the town hall and COA project, what would the town be voting for?
You would vote whether you want to move forward. You want to approve a debt exclusion to pay for the cost of the projects.
And the closing of the land?
Yes.
Well, that would be part of it, yep.
Yeah, so you want to sign as purchase and sales with the contingency that the final closing is dependent upon an approved town vote or something to that effect.
That it's contingent upon the approval of a debt exclusion for the construction of the
Which is
project.
next spring. So in between
Correct.
now and then, we want to release the 81,000 to do the feasibility studies, because if these lands aren't even acceptable to build on, right? Which is a potential. We're we're spinning wheels here, right?
Right, and you also want to develop an accurate cost for the voters so
Yep.
they know.
Okay.
So if the selectmen then can enter into a PNS that is contingent on town meeting, the way we promised the voters that it would happen, you think that can happen within 2 weeks, Mike?
I do.
Do we have
Okay.
a rough idea when the meeting is? Is it typically, first week of May, second week of May? You have a rough idea?
It's usually the middle of May.
So we could put the on or about May 15th as the vote. That way it's a little bit of floating target. Purchase and sale.
Correct.
Yeah, I think they can word the purchase and sale so that it is contingent upon, the town, both a successful referendum and town meeting vote,
Okay.
because they both have to pass.
Well, yeah, correct. I was saying you just need to put, I'm assuming that on a purchase and sale, the seller wants some type of date. That's what I'm saying. On or
Right.
about May 15th gives you some flexibility because you didn't make it concrete, but you gave them a rough idea. That's all.
Correct.
Okay.
So typically in
Okay, so-
normal years, town election is April, like the end of April. And then usually like 3 weeks later, the third week in May is typically when the spring town meeting is. That's obviously pre-COVID times. So who knows what
Right.
we'll be dealing with.
Correct.
Okay,
Right, this past year, the select board set the election for the first Saturday, I believe it was, April 5th. And they said that they would set the election by the end of January, I believe, when they decided to set it themselves rather than just pick a random date. They said they would choose the date by the end of January. So you will know that election date by the end of January.
okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm confident that the selectmen can enter into a PNS that has the best interest of the town at heart and can set it up so that it is contingent upon, the referendum and town meeting. But I think we need to go to the referendum prior to town meeting. If not, we'll just be calling a second special election, and that will cost the town money it doesn't need to spend.
Okay, I think that answers Mike's question.
Okay. And, and Beth, we do have to go by what I just reread the warrant, and you're correct, it's not what's exactly printed in the warrant, but it is what we gave our word to town meeting that we would do. And I think we need to stand by that.
No, I understand that. I'm just wondering what the contingency is. If the seller is saying, no, I'm not gonna hold the property for you until May, do we just keep our fingers crossed or do we look for a different piece? That's
Let's see if
That'll
we-
be up to
the selectmen.
We'll know in
yeah,
2 weeks.
back to. Go ahead, Mark.
We'll know in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we'll know in 2 weeks. Okay. So we'll know in 2 weeks. Moving on to just another thought that I have had, and I know we have done this somewhat randomly before and has had years, data that, from years ago, but I do think we need to know, Mike, through the building department and anybody else that you've got, extremely concrete numbers on what it would cost to do nothing. We've had estimates and, have used previous figures. So, I think we need to know exactly what it's going to cost to do nothing because we're going to be asked that.
Is that really an option, Dinah?
And say,
No, it's not an option, but somebody's going to ask the question.
But this is Mark again. in, you
Yep.
know, 3 years from now, the COA could be condemned and they would be out of space and the town hall already doesn't function. So, you know, putting a number to it is fine, but, you know, what is that number? You need a new building anyways, at least for the COA.
I agree.
I think
Okay.
Jen's just
I mean,
trying
we-
to answer a question.
For the COA.
I agree about them asking for the numbers. That
Yeah,
just
they're
never
going to-
seems to go away.
No,
What's the number gonna say? I mean,
It's gonna be arbitrary, just on any given day, if something goes drastically wrong in town hall or drastically wrong in the council on aging.
COA.
How to
can be
fix it?
Out of the building though. It's not fixable.
Yeah, as far as the town hall goes, I think that, you're not gonna have the town pay money to go out for an estimate to make the town hall compliant. You have to go by what people assume the cost will be. Because in order to get an architect to come in, make all the estimates and the cost, then get a bid from a contractor, you're better off going with the estimates, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. But I think that to go through all the expense of doing that is just another waste of money. We have people who are knowledgeable that make an estimate of what it's doing. I think some people will have to accept things the way they are. They can ask questions forever, but you're gonna have to accept things so we save money.
Dinah?
I'm not, yeah, no, I'm just a second, Bob, let me inject here. I'm not asking for an expenditure. I'm asking for in-house, up-to-date estimates.
Well,
We
I
have
think we
estimates.
did that for the building inspector, I think, went out. I don't have them in front of me, but I think the
Right.
building inspector went out, and that's up to Mike, and the select board. But I think they've already gone around at least 3 times on what it would cost to close off the walls, replace the heating and air conditioning, and all the other stuff in the town. They've already got cost estimates from other people. That's out there somewhere.
I realize that, Jim, but they're between 3 and 5 years old. I would like to have up-to-date ones as we're going into town meeting.
Dinah?
The
Yes,
up-to-date
Bob.
cost estimate on the town hall was over 6.8 million.
Yeah.
If
They
it
had,
was able to be renovated.
they had 3 different people come in there. I think Mike has the information on that. I think back in 2003, it was like $3 million. Around 2013, it was like $8 million. So there is some numbers out there that somebody knows what it's about. But I know one was 3 million, and the last time was 8 million to renovate the town hall.
Do you just want to
So we-
take the last one and put today's value to it?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have that?
I'm emailing the last cost estimate right now.
Okay.
Just,
Okay.
Diana, this is
Because
Mike.
then yes, Mark,
I would just, again, be cautious that you're gonna tell the town, well, if we do nothing, it's 8 million to renovate town hall. Why wouldn't they just say, well, let's do that? Why are we spending $20 million? Because it's more than just the renovation. It's the whole functionality of the town hall doesn't work. You pour $8 million into it, and it's still not gonna be it's not gonna function the way it needs to.
true.
You need the building
I'm
inspector
just-
to condemn it. Then there's no question.
And
And
it's even
the,
worse for COA, you know, cost $1 million to rehab the COA, you still got a building that doesn't work.
Correct.
May I ask a question? And I know that, Jim, you've been saying this for years, that the town hall does not have an occupancy permit.
Not on
Can
file.
pardon?
I don't think there's one on file. So I guess it doesn't exist.
Okay.
Is that correct? Jim, is that a correct statement?
That's the rumors I've heard, and nobody's corrected me yet. I'm sure there's somebody out there that would love to.
Where's that information kept?
Town hall.
Building
It
department.
should,
Yeah,
it
building
should be
department. It won't-
posted.
filters, permit records.
Okay.
Sorry, my cat is attacking. Get off.
Good luck getting a copy.
This big monster won't let go. Get on. Come on. Come on, you boss.
Brian's being killed by his cat.
I know. Come on, get out. Go.
Okay. In 2 weeks, we're going to have a PNS, and I know, Jack, you're on the call now.
I am indeed. Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We're trying to get a PNS secured in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. And then we'll vote on extending Viveris's contract. So both of those we will take up at the November 9th meeting.
Sounds good.
Okay. What else? What am I forgetting that we need to do right away?
Dinah, this is Mark.
Yes, Mark.
I'll just go back. I'm not on the working group, so I'm not sure who the chair is, or that committee group needs to be mobilized to kick into gear now. So like Sherry was saying, is there a political action committee formed, or what's the, how are they moving forward to promote this now that it's been approved, semi-approved to move forward?
I don't believe they've had a meeting yet. They will meet tomorrow evening. Excuse me, at their last meeting, a couple of meetings, excuse me, now I have the hiccups. There was discussion about creating a political action committee. One that could actually, make signs and expend money. But we do need to work with them to get out to the various groups around town and start talking about this project.
A meeting tomorrow, you said?
Yes. At 7.
I know I put this is Beth. I put some information in my newsletter that should be going out the first week of November. So hopefully that'll go out to all the seniors.
We need to start thinking how after the first, well, even prior to the first of the year, we start reaching out to the various groups in town to talk about this. Any of the social groups in town, any of the service organizations, veterans, VFW, American Legion, anybody that has an organized group, we need to get in there and speak to them about these projects so that, we can start answering questions about it.
I would be a little bit hesitant to put the cart before the horse, to quote some town meeting people. But I think you're going to have to wait for Mr. Viveros's project to be done to start talking, because I don't want to give them old information on old properties without giving them, and then having to go back and correct them with a new building plan or new site plan or something else. And I mean, it's going to be 2 weeks before we sign the contract. That's going to be the middle of
Right.
November. You're going to run through the holiday period. I think you can't really plan on doing anything till probably January 15th. And you've got to give the committee a chance to organize and get a game plan. And I understand we're trying to rush this, but we can't go at jet speed either. We've got to be organized and well planned out.
No, I totally agree. I was throwing it out because I don't know what kind of organizations are in town. We need a list of these groups. We also need to find out how they're meeting now. Are they meeting virtually? When are they meeting? How do they, have speakers come to their meetings? I mean, is there a Rotary Club in town? How are they meeting? How do you get on their list of speakers for programs? I personally don't know where they are, and that's something that we need to determine between now and the first of the year when we go out to really start stumping for this.
Dinah, this is Mark.
Yes, Mark.
I was just suggesting that maybe Jim's right. We can't start, the working group can't start, but they need to meet and formulate a game plan to be ready when BBBW has everything they need to be done.
Okay.
We're gonna, Jim says if we start in January, they have a limited time frame to educate the public.
Right. But if you look at the calendar, for all practical purposes in November, which gives us 2 weeks until we know about a PNS and the DBBW, which then takes us directly into the holidays, which we know nobody does anything around holidays. So we are looking for January. But why don't we? I know I'll go to the book group meeting tomorrow night. We'll see what's happening then, and since they are going to be the ones that are going to be carrying, hopefully, the water along with us on this.
Diana, can I just mention, it's Sherry from experience. I feel like we need to have a little bit more before we can start, setting up meetings and talking to people. We need what these buildings are going to look like on these properties. You need the cost, the breakdown of costs, what it's going to cost. Once you have all of the information as to what you're asking the voters to actually vote for, then, we're like in years past, we've done community forums where we have everybody present that needs to speak on this. And then they help to answer any questions, and whether or not we are still in a position that we have to hold those via Zoom or whatever it is, and that's what we have to do. But that's when you invite, as far as, sports organizations or, moms clubs or, the senior citizens. And that's when you start to invite everybody to get information out. But you need all of that information to be able to present to them.
Correct. So we wouldn't be starting until, around January, right?
Yes. Again, this is Mark. I agree, Sherry. That's what we're saying, but we can't let the working group sit around until January. They need to formulate what are they going to start doing once we have all that information. Who are they reaching out to? Have a plan in place, ready to go.
So, hey guys, this is Jack. I think the working group has met, I would say, probably 7 of the last 8 weeks to talk through this about how we're going to get the message out and what the message needs to look like. So I think we're in reasonable shape we got the bones and the structure of how to go forward. We just need to fill it out with some of the additional information and make inroads into some of these other groups. Right now, Bob has been phenomenal in leveraging his network. We have Sherry on, who's been great with the school side. We have Sharon and Estelle and Beth. So we need to start finding other people in the community to come in and be active members of this, because I think that this is going to be a lot of work for everybody to do on top of everything else that they need to do with their various volunteerism and their home life and professional life. So the more people that we have to spread the wealth around as it is going to be better. So if anyone else on the PBC wants to volunteer, it'd be great to have you. If you know of others who are particularly passionate about this, especially if they come from different demographics, so that we can get a wider reach, I think having a very broad group is going to be very, very helpful when we try to sell this in 6 months or so.
Yeah, Jack, I agree with you because I think one of the challenges is, and this is maybe has been discussed or hasn't, is each demographic, if you will, by let's say age group, may need to be hit differently. I know there's people that in my neighborhood that are, let's say, in their 30s, say, I do everything online. What do I need a town hall for? And I don't think they see the big picture of the town hall being the identity of the town. I mean, what's a town without a town hall? I mean, it just sounds a little crazy, but that's the group I find, the 30 to 40-year-olds, that it might be harder to convince, but I could be wrong. I think the older generation may be more concerned about the money aspect, but they understand the functionality of a town hall and its importance. So I think it's a different strategy based on, you know, the taxpayer demographic.
Yep, I agree with that. I think we're going to have to tailor the message to the audience. And there's
Yeah,
a lot of different audiences out there.
Yeah, it won't be one message. It's going to have to be multiple messages, I think.
And so perhaps the first thing the working group needs to do is to identify the audiences.
We can talk about that tomorrow night.
Yep. Okay, so we have the two major things for the Town Hall Community Project, which is that on November 9th, we will have a PNS to look at, and we will all have read through the proposed contract with DVBW. Is there anything else on this item? Okay, building envelope study. Brian?
Yeah, so I received back your email. For some reason I was left off it, even though Matt was in email with me. So there, unfortunately, I can't share it on my screen. So everybody had a chance to download it. So originally we did, somebody came up with a list of questions. I don't want to show you the name of but they basically were like this, and we scored everybody based on our review of the proposals. And then everybody came up with a total score. And then there were some other general factors that went in terms of their pricing and measurement and their approach and things like that. So if you haven't seen the spreadsheet that Matt put together, I know there's a link that Diana sent me to download it. But it was pretty much the consensus that train is the direction we wanted to go based on all our scoring. Now, this is all pre-COVID, so I'm going by memory here. So the next step would be to authorize moving forward with Train to do their assessment, the envelope study. And I did see Matt post something on that. The budget, I think, on the website.
Okay. Is that your recommendation as building committee's representative to that committee?
Yes. I just wanted to make sure that everybody had the information before we took it to a vote. So I know the information was posted, but I don't know if everybody downloaded it.
No, we weren't. I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
So maybe we hold off till the next meeting.
Hold on, that's till the 9th also?
Yeah, to vote on it, just so everybody has a chance just to kind of see it.
Where is
Okay.
it? Right, on the town's website?
It's I'm logging into my email. Diana sent me an email. It went out to the committee, but for some reason I didn't get the email. Diana forwarded it to me. And there's it's on the school. Looking for it right now, so bear with me for a second.
It's under the business office on the school.
Yeah, business office for the schools, under the school business administration office. There's a tab on there. Under business. And then you go under public bidding. And there's train proposal, and then the evaluation summary. And then there's something that says contract awards, which is all the contracts. So I think Matt just put it on there for budgeting purposes. It hasn't been formally voted on. So the train proposals there and the evaluation summary.
Okay, we'll put that on our agenda for the 9th also.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to forward this email around. It looks like, I know Jack's on there.
It's
Some of the,
Brian, the email, the proposal was 218 pages long.
correct.
Not able to be
Yeah.
emailed, so everyone's gonna have to go on to the site.
Download.
Yeah,
Correct.
it was sent to the select board, Mike Units, it was sent to the school committee, and Dinah, you were on it as well, and the chair and vice chair of FinCom.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the PVC was all on it.
No, they just did the chairs.
Yeah,
The
okay.
comments on it, and it's just the link to where to find it.
All right, and I forwarded that to you, Brian.
Correct.
Yep. So if everybody could go on the school department business office link and look at that. We do have a recommendation from our representative to that committee, but just to familiarize yourself with it, and then we'll take a formal vote next on the 9th.
I'm just gonna send out an email right now, so everybody has the link.
Okay. Okay. And the last item on our agenda is board reorganization for the PBC. We need to do that once a year. So is anyone interested in being the chairman? Don't everyone speak up at once.
Who's missing tonight? Anybody?
Yeah, who's missing? We can make them chair.
I make the motion, Diana.
Yes, Bob?
Keep it the way it is. It's going fine.
Second that, if
Okay.
everybody's willing.
Jim, you don't want to be clerk?
No, you're doing a great job.
Absolutely.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
So
Aye.
the chair is Dinah. The vice chair is still Jim. Okay. That is me.
Mark, clerk?
That's the clerk.
Great.
Okay. Okay,
Are we voting? We vote? Did I miss it?
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, all opposed?
Aye.
The slate will stay the,
Make sure you record that vote.
the slate will stay the same, and I'll notify the town clerk, so that's good. Okay, our next meeting then is November 9th. Is there anything else to come before the committee?
Nope.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Jim Slattery.
Second, Bob.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, see you guys on the 9th.
See ya. Good night.
Aye. Happy Halloween.
and girls.
Night.